The evolution of spores. A piece of wisdom is injected into this vast ocean. A single cell was conceived. Spore evolution activation. A message awakens this wisdom. Lin Yazi looked around confusedly, and one huge halo of light appeared in front of him one after another. Above the halo, there are also strips of fluctuations. Directly below his perspective, an oblate single cell was lying there. Soon a stream of information appeared in his mind. Self-awareness, clarity, mass, 1x10 soul mass, 61560 LSP, customized soul mass unit. Hierarchy of life, carbon-based organisms, civilization stage, 0.7, soul state, floating, not fused. This is my body. Lin Yazi looked at the single cell on the halo sliding with the water waves. My soul cannot be integrated into the cells because it is too massive. Now I can only issue orders to it, but cannot control it. Lin Yazi is now in a wonderful state. It was obviously such a fantastic and shocking thing to turn into a single cell, but because he perfectly integrated a large amount of information, it now seems a bit calmer. Moreover, the body is also in a strange state. Because the soul is too big to be integrated into the cells, he can only issue orders to his body now, but cannot really drive it. It's not a good time, Lin Yazi thought. How on earth did I end up like this? He still remembers that he was attending the school's graduation ceremony, and the principal was delivering a speech on the stage. The girl I have been chasing on my phone for half a year has already agreed to my pursuit. The good brothers also met on the night after the graduation ceremony, and they would not come back until they were drunk. But unexpectedly, the auditorium suddenly collapsed during the graduation ceremony. Screams filled his ears, and he fainted. After he woke up, a lot of information appeared in his mind, and then he saw the scene in front of him. Forget about the past. Survival is the first priority. From the once almighty overlord of the earth to a weak single cell, this is a huge gap. He is now the lowest unit of the earth's ecosystem, the cell. But looking at the information in his mind, it seems that he can absorb carbohydrates, large protein molecules, amino acids, bacteria, and other things. With this thought in mind, Lin Yazi began to look around in God mode. There is also an advantage to not merging the soul and the body. That is, you can observe the situation around your body in all directions without blind spots. Soon, he noticed some scattered bacteria around his cells. Lin Yazi didn't know what kind of bacteria they were, but the size of these bacteria was much smaller than his own cells, equivalent to 1/3 of his own cells. Eat it. Lin Yazi issued the order. The single-celled organism that represented itself in the middle began to move slowly, rolling towards the bacteria. At an extremely slow speed, the single cell representing itself enveloped the bacterium. Then, a sense of satisfaction appeared in Lin Yazi's soul. The mass changed from 1x10 to 1.1x10. A full tenth of its own mass has been increased. This is the energy transferred to Lin Yazi from a bacterium. Nearly 100% absorption. Lin Yazi looked at the number. He was jumping in surprise. A creature that is equivalent to 1/3 of its own volume has a mass of almost 1/10 of its own mass. This cell of my own is also something unusual. The energy transfer in the biological world is only between 10% and 20%. Lin Yazi can only obtain 1 to 2% of his own mass energy by eating a creature that is about 1/10 of his own size. Being able to obtain nearly 1/10 of its own volume of energy also means that the absorption rate of this cell is nearly 100%. How terrifying! Lin Yazzie marveled in his heart and then ordered him to move towards another bacteria. The surrounding bacteria all looked the same, a gray-white, slightly yellow strain. A bacterium not far away was wrapped in Lin Yazzie's cells while squirming and then slowly fused with it. The numbers on the panel jumped by 1x10 and 10 again. The size of Lin Yazzie's cells has also increased by 20%, and it can be clearly seen that they are much stronger. High transformation is also a major feature of this cell. The prey is fast, the absorption rate is high, the absorption speed is fast, and the energy conversion is also fast. This is Lin Yazzie's evaluation of his cells, which are 100 times more domineering than cancer cells. Considering the terrifying ability of this cell, if he had a cell community, Lin Yazzie was very confident that he could develop it quickly. But he only had one cell in front of him, but he was afraid of something unexpected happening. After a while, the third and fourth bacteria were wrapped in Lin Yazzie's cells and swallowed. At this time, his cells stopped moving, and two flashing words appeared in the depths of Lin Yazzie's soul again. Split. Lin Yazzie felt happy. As long as they could split up, then anything could be said. The divided cells are equivalent to doubling their combat power. Split. Lin Yazzie's soul issued this order. Immediately afterwards, the cell representing Lin Yazzie began to squirm, sinking in from the middle of its original body at a speed visible to the naked eye. After it was dented to a certain extent, two cells appeared in front of Lin Yazzie's soul. And there was another option in his mind. That was break. Lin Yazzie observed carefully and found that his dividing cell was right next to another cell, and there was a thin line connecting the two cells. Seam-type link. In this connection mode, the two cells transfer information and nutrients to each other. But this is not what Lin Yazzie needs at the moment. Only when the cell community is too large will Lin Yazzie consider connecting the cells. In the current situation of two cells, it is the most reasonable choice to separate from each other and quickly engulf and grow up. With this thought in mind, Lin Yazzie issued another order. Fracture. Two closely connected cells snapped into two cells that did not interfere with each other. And these two cells can develop independently and continue to divide. I think this is a spore. Lin Yazzie thought in his soul. Spores are reproductive cells that can leave the mother's body and develop into new individuals directly or indirectly. Lin Yazzie's cells have the ability to act independently from the mother's body and form new individuals. After all, Lin Yazzie didn't know who his mother was. He hadn't seen his mother since he woke up from consciousness. What he saw was this new single-celled individual. That's why Lin Yazzie said that his should be called spore. This is spore evolution. The two new cells that split are floating quietly in the halo. In Lin Yazzie's senses, these two divided cells were like two workers who obeyed him unconditionally. Obey and cooperate with all his orders without any complaints. No Wall Street capitalist is as happy as he is. Brothers, rush for me. Lin Yazzie issued the clarion call for a general attack, and two Lin Yazzie's cells moved their bodies hard. The surrounding bacteria are all of this type, with rod-shaped cells that appear yellow. In front of these two behemoths, Lin Yazzie's cells, the rod-shaped bacteria were ruthlessly squeezed into the body as if they had been crushed by a giant tank. Fusion, absorb, transform. Soon, both cells reached their initial size with a mass of 1x10 N9G. After an unknown amount of time of development, Linyazi's two cells were completely formed. The next step is to continue eating and continue dividing. But at this time, the surrounding bacteria seemed to have discovered the intruder who had broken into their territory. Many identical bacteria are gathering in the direction of Linyazi's two cells. Drive away this invader. Chapter 2: Encirclement and Suppression of Rod-Shaped Bacteria. Linyazi doesn't know how bacteria transmit information, but what he saw made him understand that bacteria must have a specific way to communicate with each other. Many bacteria discovered him as a foreign invader and were moving closer to him. Want to kill me? Linyazi thought. It only took one split to attract your attention. Humph. You have never seen how fearful I am. Eat it. Linyazi issued the order again and swallowed a rod-shaped bacteria that had arrived in front of him. Although swallowing and digesting are fast, they also take a certain amount of time. During his digestion, many rod-shaped bacteria had reached his sides. Comparing these rod-shaped bacteria with Linyazi cells is like a table tennis ball meeting a billiard ball, with a huge difference in size. At this time, a small drill-like thing appeared on the head of these rod-shaped bacteria, which was trying to pierce Linyazi's cell membrane. Linyazi looked there. Its own cell membrane is under attack, and the head of the rod-shaped bacterium is trying to puncture its own cell membrane. Linyazi did not dare to be careless. Although it seemed that the drill bit of the rod-shaped bacteria could not move forward one step further on his own cell membrane, the ants would bite him to death. There are many rod-shaped bacteria coming around. Linyazi also seized the time and gave an order, and the cells started working again. A rod-shaped bacterium is hard at work trying to break through Linyazi's cell membrane. I saw that the cells it was trying to puncture suddenly opened their arms, just like a wild beast opening its bloody mouth. The entire cell membrane stretched into a semi-arc shape, completely wrapping the hard-working rod-shaped bacteria inside. Now it's better. It doesn't need to be drilled. Now the whole cell is open to it. However, it couldn't move. After being wrapped in, it was quickly broken down by the lysosomes in Linyazi's cells. Another one in. The two cells work much more efficiently, at least twice as much as before. After a short period of time, the two cells reach the stage of division again. However, the two cells are still surrounded by many rod-shaped bacteria at this time. These rod-shaped bacteria have only one purpose at hand: to kill this foreign invader. Faced with this harmless attack, Linyazi did not dare to ignore it. Instead, two cells are brought together. One begins to divide, and the other continues to devour the bacteria surrounding that cell. But the next scene made Linyazi completely admire these two cells of his. The cells that have begun to divide are dividing normally. The mitochondria are moving closer to both sides, the nucleus has been divided into two, and the cell membrane in the middle is beginning to dent. Very quickly, the prototype of two cells appeared. But what surprised Linyazi was that the other cell had changed even more. The order issued by Linyazi to the other cell was to watch the cell divide and devour the surrounding rod-shaped bacteria. The cell does so, encapsulating surrounding rod-shaped bacteria into the body. However, it seems that due to absorbing too much energy, the cell also began to divide, and it was dividing while devouring other cells. The rate of division is no slower than that of a cell that divides peacefully. Both cells stopped dividing almost simultaneously. Soon, for cells appeared in front of Linyazi's soul. Fracture. For separate cells were born. Keep devouring. In this case, the only way to live up to the special abilities of these four cells is to continue working over time. It's like the company boss wants technicians to squat in the company 24 hours a day. At this time, the surrounding rod-shaped bacteria gathered faster. If it was just a small area, it would be surrounded by more than a dozen rod-shaped bacteria. So now it's all about moving in pieces. Lin Yazi didn't know how they communicated. It might be through chemical information exchange, but it was obvious that it had stirred up a hornet's nest now. Slices of rod-shaped bacteria were moving in his direction, and there were hundreds of them in total. Lin Yazi became anxious. Such a large number of bacteria could easily overwhelm him. The mass of Lin Yazi cells is 10 times that of the rod-shaped bacteria, but this is equivalent to having more than 10 such rod-shaped bacteria equivalent to the combat power of one of his cells. And he currently has 4 cells, which is equivalent to the combat power of 40 rod-shaped bacteria. However, compared to the army of hundreds of rod-shaped bacteria, Lin Yazi was still at a disadvantage. This is just an objective comparison, and it depends on the situation. Thinking of this, Lin Yazi became a little anxious and hurriedly drove the cells to continue engulfing the surrounding rod-shaped bacteria. After a while, all 4 of his cells reached their initial size. The quality has also reached 4x10 and 9G. It was already 4 times as much as when he first woke up. However, Lin Yazi in front of him couldn't care less about enjoying the happiness brought by this achievement because his current enemy was about to arrive. The surrounding rod-shaped bacteria have begun to become denser. Although the hundreds of rod-shaped bacteria have not arrived yet, there are more and more rod-shaped bacteria in front of his 4 cells. But this also brings a benefit, that is, his cells do not have to move around to find food. Swallow, swallow. The order was given, and the cells continued to move. A rod-shaped bacterium that had just come close to the cell was wrapped in without warning, and then quickly melted away. Another rod-shaped bacterium that was still moving was also swallowed up by the large mouth that fell from the sky. The rod-shaped bacteria surrounding the cells are being engulfed. However, it is obvious that the speed of cell phagocytosis is not as fast as the increase of bacteria. If one bacteria is engulfed, 2 more will appear around it. Now, there are 3 or 4 rod-shaped bacteria attacking one cell at the same time. If other cells are not produced, there will soon be 5, 6, or even 9 or 10 rod-shaped bacteria besieging a cell. In that case, even if your own cell membrane is strong, you may not be able to resist the persistent attacks of these bacteria. Lin Yazi thought in her mind, and stronger thoughts spurred the cells to move faster. After a while, every cell was covered with rod-shaped bacteria. At least 6 or 7 rod-shaped bacteria adhered to Lin Yazi's cells and used the drill to forcefully break through Lin Yazi's cell membrane. Not good. At this moment, Lin Yazi's soul clearly felt that the cell membrane of one of the cells had been broken through. A small hole was drilled into the cell membrane of that cell by one of the rod-shaped bacteria. The cell membrane was thick. Although it was not completely broken through, it was also the first time that the cell membrane was damaged. Lin Yazi's soul was startled, and she thought to herself, "No, if this continues, 4 of my cells will definitely die. There must be some way." Suddenly, Lin Yazi thought of a way. That's what I learned in high school biology books, that cell membranes can flow. I don't know if it's possible. Lin Yazi thought about it, so he issued an order to make the cell membrane flow as a whole. Chapter 3, Battlefield. The flow effect of the cell membrane is very obvious, and the damaged cell membrane is quickly filled up under the command of this flow. The damaged areas are filled with intact cell membranes. As a result, it will take more effort for those rod-shaped bacteria to break through the defense line. After Lin Yazzie developed cell membrane flow, the situation improved significantly. Many rod-shaped bacteria diligently chewed out a small mouth and were transported to other places by the flowing cell membrane in an instant, giving them no chance to continue eating. Lin Yazzie continued to issue orders. Keep devouring. The rod-shaped bacteria that adhered to the cells suffered again and were wrapped into the body by the entire flowing cell membrane. Under the action of powerful lysosomes, the bacterial body is rapidly decomposed. Lin Yazzie's body mass increased again. Because each movement consumes a portion of energy, the mass does not increase as quickly as it did at the beginning. However, with the accumulation of time, these four cells have reached a level where they can divide. Lin Yazzie issued the order without hesitation: split.